So the $100 million that is a additional allocation to Landcare. That's the case, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And $85 million to support on-the-ground projects through the various Landcare organisations, and $15 million for the Indigenous protected areas. That's the case.
I think
Yes.
I think it's still under discussion, is it, or not?
Well, there have been announcements about an amount for Indigenous Landcare, $15 million.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So the $85 million that's
Yes.
going to Landcare. Ms. Yakshevich, that right?
Well done.
Yes. So have you been in consultation with the various Landcare communities about the $85 million additional funding? What's the reaction been like?
Yeah. Obviously, any additional funding for Landcare is going to be greeted positively, and as part of our function, it's always important that we liaise with our stakeholders, which include the Landcare community. So obviously, they're all kind of keen to see what that actually means, and waiting for a more tangible announcement of the details.
So what have these Landcare communities been telling you as to what their priorities for how it should be spent?
Well, Landcare volunteer groups are always looking for funding to support their projects. They're giving up their time, but they do need some funding to assist them along the way. Those projects are so wide-ranging. I can't say.
You give us some examples.
Oh, well, it could be fixing up riparian areas. It could be fencing off areas. It could be tree planting. It could be re-veg. It could be weeding. Sustainable ag projects. Coast care projects which involve dune stabilisation. There's many types.
And do you have any particular views as to the type of projects that are likely to be priorities, that will be funded?
If it's involving grants going out to groups, I would expect there's some sort of grant criteria that are established. I couldn't comment on what that is and who would set that up.
And have Landcare Australia, have you been working with the Indigenous communities as well in the relationship between the $85 million Landcare and the $15 million extra for Indigenous programs?
Our current engagement with the Indigenous community is, I would say, modest. It's involved things like being involved in some projects where we have funding to allocate to those. That's corporate funding, not government funding. And also running things like Landcare Awards, where there's an Indigenous Landcare Awards and we profile their work.
And overall, how big a boost to your funding is this extra $85 million?
Well, given that the proposed funding is, or the announced funding is $1 billion over 5 years, plus the $100 million, I think the $100 million is a great addition and is significant.
Terrific. Good. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.